Hey everybody, I have to say this up front and honestly, I'm glad it's over. It's finally done. The Arrowverse is finally officially dead. It was announced about a week ago that the last show, The Flash, would have its last season coming up later this year, and it would be a short season. Now, the Arrowverse as a whole has been going on since 2014, 2015. And overall, I would say it's been the longest running set of comic book television shows that I've seen in all of my years of living. Even Marvel, I went back and checked to see what the Marvel television shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, and all of them, none of them lasted more than 2 or 3 years. And then, of course, there was the Netflix disasters. Jeez. So I have to give the Arrowverse as a whole, a lot of credit. So now, what is the Arrowverse? For those who don't know, the Arrowverse is a colloquial name for all of the shows that were made by the CW television network, starting back in 2014 with the premiere show known as Arrow, which was based off of the Green Arrow. Loosely based. I will upfront and honestly say it was very loosely based because I remember the Green Arrow as a comic book character. I remember reading the comics. This guy didn't seem very much like the Green Arrow, but I only watched 3 episodes. I could only stomach 3 episodes. Why? Because what they did is that they made him a lot like Batman in growly voice, swinging from rooftops, using arrow grappling hooks and stuff like that. I was just like, why? Because Green Arrow has always been sort of seen as sort of a cheerful, vigilante, Robin Hood style kind of guy. Even though he's a multi-billionaire like Batman / Bruce Wayne is, he's not grim and gritty and grim derp and grim dark like Batman is. He's supposed to be lighthearted, kind of cool, kind of fun. And that was the character in the comics. This guy was a dramatic edgelord in a lot of damn ways. Now, the show set a template for how all the other shows later on would play out. Basically having a team supporting the hero. That worked for Arrow, even though they did some race swapping with some things like Speedy. Originally was a redheaded, a white kid. All of a sudden he is now a female Hispanic girl. Gosh, what is it with killing off redheads? I don't know. People just hate redheads. I don't know. Poor Mary Jane. Oh, damn. But the show lasted all the way through up to about 2020. What was the problem? Why did it end? It wasn't canceled. The show ended mainly because the main actor who played Oliver Queen / Arrow, Stephen Aghill, if I remember his name correctly, he just didn't want to do the show anymore. Now, there were some rumors going around for a while that the show was running 60 to 80-hour weeks to record all of the episodes and stuff like that. But I think Stephen Aghill, he just got tired of doing the show. He didn't want to get typecast into superhero roles anymore. And he probably felt it was just time to move on. But like I said, the show set up a template for other shows that would later come. And sadly enough, it didn't work out too well for all the other shows. Starting off with Supergirl. Now, I watched every last fucking season of Supergirl. I'm not going to lie. The show was horrid, though. The show was just absolutely freaking horrid. They tried the same team dynamic, diversity, political leanings goddamn thing that they do with a lot of shows nowadays. And it just tore the show apart. No one liked it. Starting off the first episode, we discover that Kara Zor-El, now known as Kara Danvers, Superman's cousin, is living in National City. I mean, can you come up with a shittier name for a town? National City? Where she works for Catco Industries. Catco Industries is some conglomerate big industry kind of thing where they delve into just about everything, including the news. And she acts as a gopher for the founder CEO of Catco, Cat Grant. the lady who played Cat Grant was the only damn good actress in the fucking show. And she left by about season 3, season 4. So they had black Jimmy Olsen. I shit you not. They turned Jimmy Olsen from a redhead, freckle-faced kid into a 6'3", somewhat bald-headed, sparkling hunk of a black man. Why? I don't even know why, but damn, he was hot. But still, I'm like, why? What was wrong with redheaded Jimmy Olsen? No, we gotta have a black man. Diversity, 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 diversity. So the diversity rolled the fuck on. Supergirl, by the end of the first season, starts out with something of a diverse team. You have Win, the tech guy, Jimmy Olsen as cheerleader, Alex Danvers, Supergirl's adopted sister, acting as basically a sidekick, help out, and a government organization known as Defenders of Earth Agency. Basically, think of it as extraterrestrial cops on Earth. You know, they're a bunch of human guys with a bunch of tech taking down aliens who are criminals and shit like that. She's working with them. Why? This doesn't make any sense. She's fucking Supergirl. She has at least 90% of the power of Superman. Why the fuck does she need a team of diverse fucking heroes? We don't know why. We don't care. But it goes on. By about season 4, they totally revamped the cast, got rid of the majority of the males, because, you know, strong women. Alex, Kara's sister, suddenly pops up as a lesbian. Why? 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 Alex Danvers doesn't even exist in a fucking comic, but still. And it continues on getting worse. They traded out Win for Brainiac 13, a guy who's a Hispanic actor. Nonetheless, Martian Manhunter was originally played by a black man. I can't remember his name of the actor, but he gets shuffled on to being a detective, friendly neighborhood alien helper guy, whatever. Once again, bullshitting the cast to the point where everybody's like, we don't even know. Jimmy was the only one left, really, and he decides to become a vigilante superhero called Guardian. Literally just wearing a full body armor costume and a retractable shield. Based on the similar Guardian character in Superman comics, but more tactical looking and silly. It just didn't make any fucking sense. They kept making these bad ideas. Then on top of that, because most of the show happened during the Trump years, they decided to change the opening monologue in the show, where it was just, hi, I'm Kara Zor-El, and I live here on Earth, and I play Supergirl. Now it's, hi, I'm Kara Zor-El, a refugee from Krypton. Why? Because one of the major storylines they decided to insert into the fucking show was that there were all of these aliens from different planets suddenly living in National City, and they're all refugees and immigrants. So, Kara Zor-El, after living on Earth for over 10 fucking years, all of a sudden she's a refugee too. Fuck that shit! Fuck it! It was so fucking annoying. Now, the rest of the problem with the show, the script sucked after a while, the monologuing and dialogue was bad. By season 6, the ratings were terrible. They were near Batwoman levels. What did they decide to do to fix this fucking problem? We'll hire a tranny. I shit you fucking not. They hired a known trans actress. Well, unknown, really. But this person is actually trans. Male to female transgendered. Put her in the show as a new female superhero character known as Dreamer, whose powers was the ability to see the future in her dreams. Later on, she gets these little magic gauntlet thingies from Brainiac 13 that turns her dream energy into a whip. An energy whip. Well, God, okay, so she's already trans, and now we're giving her dominatrix gear. Why? For what fucking purpose? It didn't raise the show's ratings one fucking bit. In fact, the show's ratings started to tumble afterwards. The way they got around the whole trans thing was that the character's an alien. Dreamer is a character from an alien from another planet. So her transness doesn't really matter because she's not a human being. She doesn't fall under the human template of trans people not being the norm. On her planet, trans is norm. So, what the fuck? They even had Brainiac 13 in a relationship with her that made no fucking sense. It just made no fucking sense. By the time we got to season 7, none of the shit made sense. The show's ratings were in the toilet, pretty much right at Batwoman levels. And everybody was like, when are you just going to cancel this show, man? It's shit now. The show is shit. Nobody was really watching it anymore. Except for me. And half of Reddit, which were bitching about the show constantly. So they finally canceled the show back in 2020. But 2020. They managed to run it into 2021, thanks to COVID. And the final episode was garbage. My God, it was a steaming pile of garbage. The whole season was a steaming pile of garbage, and it was a short season. It was a short season. Instead of supposed to be 15, 20 episodes, it got like 13 or 12. It was just horrible. So you think people would learn a lesson from this? Not really. No lesson really to be had. Well, you already know what happened with Batwoman. That show was shit. There was another show that was actually pretty fucking good. Legends of Tomorrow. I watched that one all the way up to season 6 or season 5. Another team dynamic show, only it made sense this time. A time traveler from the future known as Rip Hunter comes back to the 21st century to recruit a diverse group of heroes to help save the future from Vandal Savage, some immortal supervillain guy who's going to take over the world in the 25th century. So he recruits this group of basically C-list superheroes, people who nobody gave a fuck about even in the damn comics, and brought them together on a time-traveling spaceship known as Wave Rider. Yeah, I know, it's starting to sound like Doctor Who, but trust me, the original Doctor Who was a lot better than this damn show. The show was good. I liked it. I liked the team dynamic because it worked. It's a team of superheroes fixing problems in the past. Traveling around in the future, dealing with stuff. That's good. That works. Where did the show start to have problems? By season 3, they got rid of Rip Hunter for no discernible reason other than plot, and made White Canary, also known as Sarah, the team leader. Oh, and she comes out as bisexual too. Why? Diversity! Even though she's blonde-haired and blue-eyed and white, but still she's bisexual, so I guess it counts. Over the course of the series, some characters would come, some characters go. Captain Cold started out the first 2-3 seasons, then he left. They had Firestorm for a while, then he left, and then came back as somebody else. And then they had Kid Flash, Heatwave, Ray Palmer, Adam. And some of these characters stayed with the show no matter what. Others just sort of flip-flopped in and out, coming and going as whatever plot demanded. The show started suffering by season 4 because people were just like, this is silly. But what they did is that they turned the show around and made it a sort of meta comedy. They said, okay, we're going to take this to its comedic hilt as best we can while still keeping action. So what they did is that it was a diverse team of misfits and screw-ups. So every episode after season 5 was, hey, there's this problem in the timeline. Okay, let's go fix it. We get to the problem in the timeline. For some reason, one of the team members has some grievance problem, some bullshit going on that causes them to screw up the mission. And so the first 25 minutes of the show is it's a fallout from all of that. And the other 20 minutes of the show is them fixing the problem that they almost made worse because they're all screw-ups. It's only fun and interesting to watch for 3 or 4 episodes, and you're like, okay, I already know what's going to happen. They're going to fuck up royally and then fix it. by the skin of their fucking teeth, and then going, well, yeah, we're all a bunch of screw-ups, but we're a team. We're like a family. We're a family of screw-ups and misfits. Okay, whatever, bye. Bye. So what caused that show to get canceled? Quite literally the greatest set of circumstances and happenstances that could only be explained by time travel. The actors, the showrunners and writers were expecting the show to be renewed because the ratings were good. But CW and Warner Brothers didn't contact them. So they're sitting up there waiting for contact. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers, who has some type of weird contract with CW about renting out a studio space, they decide they don't want to pay for the studio space anymore. So that officially cancels the show, and nobody finds out until quite literally the last episode of the last season that the show's not going to be renewed. And so they're like, what the fuck are we going to do? Oh, well, April 29th, the show was 2022, the show was done. Fuck you, everybody. Now, I hadn't watched the show since season 5, so, I was kind of like, well, fuck. Well, I can go get the old episodes on DVD or pirate them, whatever. But that was one of the weirdest things about the whole damn thing, is that the show was doing good, crappy as it was, in my opinion, but they just fucked around. Just like, man, we don't give a fuck. We're not going to renew this show. Now, there's some rumors that CW is about to be sold to Hulu or something like that. Maybe that's part of what it was. But I really think Batwoman going the way of the fucking dodo, as it should have, scared CW, Warner Brothers, and whoever else was involved. Like, well, maybe this woke shit just ain't working anymore. Maybe it's time to move on. Okay, fine. Well, give us Superman and Lois. It's not as woke. Okay, fine. Superman and Lois has nothing to do with the Arrowverse, though. So, moving on. Okay. Next up on the chopping block, before it even was born into the world, really, was Black Lightning. Now, I watched all 2, 3, 2.5 sort of seasons of this show. Let me look this show up right quick. Because I could have sworn it was 3 seasons. 3 seasons. 3 years of show, really. 3 years of show. And I'm sorry. I am sorry. This show, I watched all 4 seasons of it, starting from January 16th, 2018 to May 24th, 2021. I watched this show. Not because it had a black superhero, but because Black Lightning was always an interesting character. And yes, okay, I'll admit it. Yeah, there was something about having a black superhero. What was this show's problem? Convoluted to the point of absolute silliness. First of all, even in the comics, the character of Black Lightning is in his 40s now. Because he premiered in the 70s. So he's in his 40s now in this version. And he was played by a slightly portly looking black male, Cress or Seth Williams. And he was a good actor, but nobody believed that a 40-plus-year-old man with 2 grown kids is suddenly going to take up the superhero mantle again and start kicking ass. And he ain't been kicking ass in over 10 years. It was hard to believe. I'm like, look, this dude is in his 40s. He's got fucking gray in his damn beard. I'm not buying this shit. But I watched all 4 fucking seasons. And like I said, the show became convoluted off the bat. By the end of season 1, there was so much fucking backstory and bullshit going on. You're like, I gotta watch the same season all over again to figure out where the fuck we are, what the fuck is going on. To make matters worse, some of the acting was just bad, and some shit just made no sense. Black Lightning has 2 daughters. Their oldest one is a lesbian. Why? Once again, why? Well, in the comics, she's a lesbian too, but still. And has these on and off relationships, but she's a lesbian and the family accepts it, whoop-de-doo. Oh, by the way, Black Lightning's divorced. Just couldn't get along with his wife and all that shit, but the show goes on and on and on. With both of the daughters ended up having superpowers eventually. and trying to help their dad. There doesn't really get to be a serious team dynamic with the show. There's a lot of good family moments in the show, but it's also a lot of drama and bullshit that's just silly and unnecessary. And I think that was part of what killed the show. At the end of the day, nobody was really watching the show because there was just nothing to it. It was just rehashing the same old silliness over and over again, with the youngest daughter always being a pain in the ass teenager, even though her actress obviously looks to be in her fucking 20s. Nobody's buying that shit after a while. And all the other characters surrounding Black Lightning seem to have their own silly, stupid dramas going on. Like his ex-wife is acting like an idiot on a constant basis, even though she's supposed to be a genius fucking scientist. It just didn't make any fucking sense. And I got sick and tired of it. The most interesting part of the show wasn't Black Lightning. It was actually the villain. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he was played by literally an albino actor. And this guy was a fucking trip. I shit you not. This guy was a fucking trip. He would sit up there and he would talk about black folks like they was animals. Negroes out here, they just doing this and doing that. I'm like, damn, this guy, I mean, he's a black man hating on black folks, running a nearly entirely black criminal organization in an all-black city. And this nigga talking about black folks like he's some white dude from the KKK. The revamped version, modern day. I'm like, damn, brother. Damn. And I love this character. It was just hilarious to see this guy one-up Black Lightning in a lot of cases and just talk shit. It was hilarious. That was the best part of the fucking show. So what got it canceled? Bad ratings. Nobody was watching the show. A lot of critique on it was negative, so they're just like, fuck it, we're out of here, bye. There was talk about they were going to release a side character show called Painkiller, but that never went anywhere, and thank God, because Painkiller was a stupid-ass character. So 4 years of that. 4 years of that, 4 seasons of that shit. And it's just, I'm just like, oh God. It couldn't get any worse. It couldn't get any worse. Batwoman. I mean, damn. So finally, we get to the last show. The most worthwhile show. The show that lasted the longest. The show that I have watched since season 1. The Flash. Now, this show starred Grant Gustin and a host of decent actors. The show was decent. The show was even good at some points. But what was the problem with the show? The Flash is the fastest man alive. He doesn't need a team of diverse, plucky individuals to help him solve crimes and fight bad guys. He should. He's the fastest fucking guy alive. But nope. All through season 1 to season 4, Barry's constantly needing encouragement and help. He's the fastest fucking guy alive, and he's smart. Why? Nobody knows. Oh, yeah, and they race swapped his wife with a black woman. Once again, we're killing off the redheads. It's an Irish genocide. I don't get it. Now, what became the problem with the show? There were 3 problems that some people kind of ignored. First off, you had the actor Tom Cavanaugh coming back as different timeline versions of Harrison Wells. We all thought it was funny. It got to be a joke in the show. The fans were like, oh, when's the next version of Harrison Wells going to show up? Okay, probably next season sometime. Yeah, and he did. It was funny. We liked it, but it got repetitive and silly after a while. And even the fans and the showrunners were like, we're going to have to drop this Harrison Wells doppelganger damn thing because it's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. Silly. Even Tom Cavanaugh, the actor, was like, I want to go do something fucking else. Sort of. I don't know. Other things that plagued the show was that they had a guy playing Elongated Man, and he was actually a good actor. Added some lighthearted comedy to the show. Knew what he was doing. But he gets fired because he said some things on Twitter. And they decided to fire him. Finally, the last part of it was quite literally Candace Patton, who I made a video about. Her character of Iris, no one liked her. No one liked the character, and that sort of transferred down to the actor. The main problem with the character is that they kept inserting her into the show. She's the Flash's wife. She doesn't need to be showing up every episode, helping out Team Flash, putting herself in danger, and playing a shitty ass version of Lois Lane. I shit you not. That's what her character devolved into. She ran some little online newspaper out of an office building somewhere in Central City. Why? Why? It made no sense. Let her stay her ass at home or at her fucking job. She didn't need to be joining in fighting bad guys and shit. The diverse cast of Team Flash was okay, but it got to be convoluted and silly after a while too. Like I said, it just didn't work out. It just didn't work out. Now, this season is the last season, and it's a short season. And then that's it. There's nothing left. There are no more shows in the Arrowverse. Now, there is one more DC superhero show, Superman and Lois, which is already doing pretty damn good. Season 1 and Season 2 were considered to be some of the greatest they've seen as far as DC television shows go. So I'm hoping that will last at least past Season 4. Although there's no guarantee. Superheroes are kind of becoming saturated, and I just don't know. I don't know. It's going to be kind of hard to screw up Superman and Lois. If they've learned anything from the other shows, they'll know what not to do. But I just get the feeling that unless they listen to fans and do some things right, show's not going to make it past Season 3, Season 4 at best. And maybe that is for the best. I don't know. But we're going on 26 minutes here, 27 really. And, well, I've said all I have to say. The show's over. It's all said and done. I really enjoyed The Flash. I enjoyed Legends of Tomorrow. Black Lightning, take it or leave it. But, like I said, I'm kind of glad it's over. Because after a while, it's just like you're running a corpse. And nobody likes running a corpse. You. All right, everybody, take care.